The third book of Moses, called Leviticus. Leviticus is God's guidebook for his newly redeemed people, showing them how to worship, serve, and obey a holy God. Fellowship with God through sacrifice and obedience show the awesome holiness of the God of Israel. Indeed, ye shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. 19 verse 2. Leviticus focuses on the worship and walk of the nation of God. In Exodus, Israel was redeemed and established as a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Leviticus shows how God's people are to fulfill their priestly calling. The Hebrew title is Yigra, and he called. Quotation. The Talmud refers to Leviticus as a law of the priest, and the law of the offerings. Quotation. The Greek title appearing in the Septuagint is Leviticus, the which pertains to the levities. From this word, the Latin Vulgate derives its name Leviticus, which was adopted as the English title. This title is slightly misleading because the book does not deal with the levities as a whole, but more with the priest, a segment of the levities. Leviticus chapter 1 verse 1 says, And the Lord called unto Moses, and spake unto him out of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, If any man of you bring an offering unto the Lord, ye shall bring your offering of the cattle, even of the herd, and of the flock. If his offering being a burnt sacrifice of the herd, let him offer a male without blemish. He shall offer it of his own voluntary will at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord. And he shall put his hands upon the head of the burnt offering, and it shall be accepted for him to make atonement for him. And he shall kill the bullock before the Lord, and the priest, Aaron's sons, shall bring the blood and sprinkle the blood round about upon the altar that is by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he shall flay the burnt offering, and cut it into his pieces. And the sons of Aaron the priest shall put fire upon the altar, and lay the wood in order upon the fire. And the priest Aaron's sons shall lay the parts, the head and the fat, in order upon the wood that is on the fire which is upon the altar. But his inwards and his legs shall he wash in water. And the priest shall burn all on the altar, to be a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire, of a sweet savour unto the Lord. And if his offering be of the flocks, namely of the sheep or of the goats, for a burnt sacrifice, he shall bring it a male without blemish. Verse 11. And he shall kill it on the side of the altar northward before the Lord, and the priest, Aaron's sons, shall sprinkle his blood round about upon the altar. And he shall cut it into his pieces with his head, and his fat, And the priest shall lay them in order on the wood that is on the fire, which is upon the altar. But he shall wash the inwards and the legs with water. And the priest shall bring it all, and burn it upon the altar. It is a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire of a sweet savour unto the Lord. I'm sorry, but I just caught something, and I don't know whether you caught it. This is my first time reading the book of Leviticus, okay, which is in the Old Testament, okay. I just repeated myself. I read the same thing. I stopped at verse 13, but I read the same thing in verse 9. Verse 9 says, but his inwards and his legs shall he wash in water, and this and so forth. 13 says the same thing, but he shall wash the inwards and the legs with water, and so forth. Is that even right? I mean, I don't know. This is my first time reading this. Maybe God is saying, yeah, he likes to repeat himself. I don't know. But this book is King James Version. And to tell you the truth, at first, I couldn't read the King James. It was hard for me. Because when I first started to read the Bible, I read, what was that called? New International Version. New International Version and another version. And it was easy for me. And the reason why was because, it's easy for you and stuff like that. But to be honest, the Bible shouldn't be easy. It's not easy for anybody. The Bible's not for everybody. But I asked the Lord to help me out reading, and for my husband as well. And so, sometimes it's like you see things and you're like, what is that? But, God reveals things to you. So, I just want to state that out. And I'm going to continue and see if there's anything that repeats. I don't know. Not that I care, but I'm just want to state that. Okay? Leviticus chapter 1, still, verse 14 says, and if the burnt sacrifice for his offering to the Lord be of fowls, then he shall bring his offering of turtle doves, or of young pigeons. And the priest shall bring it unto the altar, and wring off his neck. His neck. I'm thinking about the bird. Wring off his head, and burn it on the altar, and the blood thereof shall be wrung out at the side of the altar. And he shall pluck away his crop with his feathers, and cast it beside the altar on the east part, by the place of the ashes. And he shall cleave it with the wings thereof, but shall not divide it asunder. And the priest shall burn it upon the altar, upon the wood that is upon the fire. It is a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire of a sweet savour unto the Lord. Now, just to for those of you who don't know what the New Testament is, okay, the Bible. I just want to say that maybe some people don't know. The Bible is made of the Old Testament and the New Testament. Old Testament is before Jesus was born, and they did predict in the Old Testament that Jesus was coming. Some people didn't believe it, but people who went by the Bible knew that he was going to come someday. And so the Old Testament was before Jesus was born, and they did things differently. Now the New Testament is when Jesus was born and how he grew up, and they say everything from the time he was crucified and everything that's happening now, currently, right now. Each thing that's stated in the Bible is being fulfilled, and I believe that Revelations is being fulfilled right now at this moment. And